Welcome to the Rise Up podcast, where we explore the stories of business leaders rising above challenges and driving innovation. And super pumped to have someone that I have watched from a distance and up close for many years, Michael Nelson. Welcome to the Rise Up podcast.
Glad to be here, Josh. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Michael is a serial entrepreneur, which you'll discover here as we converse. But as I really liked, he said he calls himself chief bus driver.
Yeah, I just drive the bus.
That's right. So I think a lot of people will be curious, what kind of bus is he driving? And where is that bus going? So we'll kind of dive into some of those things because just the fact that you call yourself chief bus driver, number one, tells me the title and labels aren't a super big deal to you.
Not a big deal to me, no.
Yeah. Which just says a lot about yourself. A lot of people, and you know it because you've been around them, are driven by their title and label as
Absolutely.
chief this or head that or vice president of this.
Yeah.
And it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
doesn't mean a whole lot of times.
It doesn't, right? It's all the times it's just their own, well, we could kind of go off their own identity crisis that they're in that a label somehow solves and it really doesn't solve.
No, it does not.
So, yeah. So Michael, I always like to kind of ask, you a Lubbock native, West Texas guy, or how'd you get to Lubbock?
Well, I was actually born in Midland, apparently, but I moved here when I was 6 months old, so I don't remember that.
Yep.
And then I lived in Lubbock, went to Atkins Junior High, and then up until I went to Bayless Elementary and Atkins Junior High, moved off for high school because my stepdad got transferred.
Yep.
And then I moved back to Tech to get my bachelor's and get my master's, and been here ever since.
So bachelor's and master's. So would you say that the degree and the graduate degree you got had a direct contribution to your entrepreneurial business career? Or was it just kind of what you got at the time?
Very loosely, especially my bachelor's. My bachelor's is in creative writing, in English and creative writing. Originally, and I've got a long backstory, but I was going to go into ministry, and I could tell more about that, but ended up I didn't do that, and I got my master's in sports medicine, and that applies a little bit more to when I started my personal training in BodyWorks and then the Falls and all of that.
Yeah, interesting. So the creative writing, and then even kind of the ministry side, what was stirring up into you as a young person in college getting this? That was, what vision was there at that time?
Well, the way that it started is I was 15 years old. And at that time at high school, I lived in Sulphur Springs, Texas. Okay.
East of Dallas, right?
East of Dallas, about 90 miles. It was the largest dairy producing county in the nation. Wow. So I do know how to milk a cow.
There you go.
One thing that spurred me on to get an education.
Don't want to be stuck doing that, right?
No, sir. But anyway, when I was 15, going to First Baptist Church in Sulphur Springs, I felt the call on my life to go into full-time ministry.
Yeah.
And so, walked to the front of the church and had been in discussions with my pastor and got presented to the church and all of that. I'm going to talk with my hands a lot. I hope I don't bump this too often. And what I was told at that time is, okay, Michael, this is what this means. Yeah. This means you're going to, graduate high school, then you're going to go to college. And then after you go to college, then you're going to go to seminary. Yep. And then after you go to seminary, then you're going to be a youth pastor, you're going to pastor a small church or something like that. So at that point, that's what I thought the plan was. Yep. And as I often say, if you ever want to make God laugh, just tell him your plan. Yes. He often has something different in mind.
Yep. There's a proverb that I think is so appropriate, and it's like, a man makes his way, which is somewhat accurate, but it's the Lord who orders the steps.
Yep.
And it's like trying to get on page with that second half of like, will I allow my life to be ordered? Yeah. And ultimately, I'll say this, you probably can too. The outcome actually is much sweeter and beautiful than my best laid.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So when I started, I've been a writer, pretty much my entire life. And so when I was getting my bachelor's in creative writing, I also started personal training. Yep. And this is, every time I say this, it's just such a weird thing. I was Lubbock's first personal trainer. Wow. I mean, we're talking about 91. Yep. Actually more like about 87, 88. Yeah. And so I started this personal training because I was always doing powerlifting and bodybuilding. And
I got to ask, as you're describing it, where was that gym?
The original gym, originally I went to people's houses.
Okay. So you took equipment with you?
Well, yeah, I had like a little case of dumbbells and bands and all that stuff. And so I was training people at their houses. I trained some people at the rec center at Tech. And then a few people at a place called Flex Fitness here in town. And of course, when I first started, nobody had any reference point for what I was doing. They're like, you want me to pay you to do what? To, change the weights for me? I don't understand. But once it did kind of catch on, it caught on pretty fast and pretty aggressively. And so within just a few months of my starting the business, I actually had to hire a couple other guys with me to start carrying all the overload. Because I was just getting too booked up. And so anyway, after that, it was just going gangbusters, but I was, graduating with my bachelor's, and I was going, well, God, I don't understand this.
This isn't lining up with what was told to me a few years ago.
Exactly. I'm like, I thought I was supposed to go to seminary at this point, but this personal training thing has caught on, and, it's really successful. And I just submitted that to my prayer life. And, I just kind of felt God say, Michael, don't make it so difficult. Just go through the door I've got open.
That's good. That's really good.
And so, instead of going to seminary, I went and got my master's in sports medicine. And while I was doing that, of course, the training business really took off. It was just doing very, very well. But, 18 months later, I was again at that same crossroads. I'm like, okay, so I've got this degree now, but what's next? And I was like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to go to seminary now. Again, submitted that to my prayer life. And I just, kind of felt God a little more forcefully, kind of kicking me in the tail and go, look, go through the door I've got open. And so instead of going to seminary, I opened up my first club, BodyWorks, 1992. And, my first club was 4,000 square feet.
Where was the location?
It was at 72nd and University, right across in that little strip center, across from KLBK. I had 10 weight machines, 4 pieces of cardio, and that's where I started. In fact, the cardio that I bought was just, I bought it from Sears. I did not even know enough at that point to know what commercial cardio was. And so after 6 weeks, when they all broke down and I couldn't get them fixed, that was one of my many lessons learned.
One of the lessons learned. This will be kind of fun. We talked about this off air a little bit, but I want to back up for a moment because I think what you're speaking to, there's a lot of people listening that they have some really impactful personal moments. And to your point that you said, sometimes they're either ill-informed or just rightfully informed of like, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is the shape and the form. And when it's not playing out that way, sometimes frustration comes in to lives, and you've seen it. And what I'm going to kind of ask and assume, because I know you enough to know this way, and that is the calling that you felt that had the label or the title of ministry or pastor or seminary, although right and good in intention, I would argue or emphasize that you have pastored, you have mentored, you have spoken into countless lives, team members, associates, clients, quite possibly in greater capacities than sometimes you can in labeled, titled ministry.
Absolutely. And in fact, at the end of the day, that's what I tell people. I am in full-time ministry. I just happen to use the vehicle of fitness and wellness instead of a traditional church or something like that. And, with BodyWorks, our vision statement was to be God's church disguised as a health club.
That's right.
And that's what we tried to walk out.
Well, and I love so much that you carried this vision and you didn't use the phrase. So I'm going to kind of use a phrase, the whole body, the whole person, because we are. Paige and I, my wife, we met in Tulsa, Oklahoma at a university that, in the 70s had this vision to educate students with a holistic whole body. So like literally we had to go through aerobic classes, aerobic points, learn about fitness and health for your body, because we believe so much that the body, the mind, and the spirit was just all interconnected. And the fact that you were touching so deeply that the body side to it, there's another side too. That can contribute to your physical, mental, holistic well-being.
Yeah, completely. That's absolutely right. And what I tell people is, I always tell people that there's nothing that you can do outside of your spiritual practices that impacts your life more than fitness. And I often get a lot of pushback on that and a lot of blowback. And I'm like, well, how can you be a good spouse when you take all of your frustrations out on your husband and your wife because you're sore and you're tired and you're cranky, you're stiff? How can you be a good parent when you're too tired to play with your kids at the end of the day?
Yeah. Yep.
And so, or, if you're retired and you can't carry in your own groceries, fitness plays such a role in your life because it impacts every other part of it.
Well, and I'm going to tie into even your Falls Fitness. I referenced this off air. My mom years ago, and you look at her, you wouldn't know that she's the age that she is. And she felt a real deep conviction about 15, 20 years ago of God just saying, if you want me to use you in the way that I know you do, you got to take care of your body. You have the longevity and the usefulness that I have called for you to do, but you got to play your part in your body.
That's right.
And so she really began a commitment to just, even in older age. I mean, she was in her 60s, starting a fitness that she didn't have when I watched her. I mean, she was always healthy.
Yeah.
And she loves the Falls, loves your
impressive.
people, the Falls. So, but to your whole point, she knew this is something I have to take care of.
Yeah.
So I can be purposeful in the other areas of my life I want to be purposeful in.
Well, and just, the Apostle Paul tells us that, our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So what more motivation do you need? What more, how much more clear can you be about the need to take care of this temple?
Right. Yep. So 4,000 square feet, started out, bought some Sears equipment that didn't work out. What was that initial and, probably a few year journey of you learning how to be not just help, physical fitness for individuals and coaching and training, but actually running a business? Because that's a pretty big leap.
Oh yeah. And
you laugh. I know it's coming.
Yeah. Well, there were many times I didn't run it very well and many, many lessons learned. And, I didn't have any, classes at Tech in marketing or business or accounting or, I mean, when I got my first financial statements, I was like, well, what are these?
Yes.
And
it's a foreign language.
Yeah. And when my first accountant was screwing everything up, I didn't even know they were screwing it up until I got an audit from the state of Texas. And that kind of opened my eyeballs.
You owe some money. You're like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of, hard knock lessons, a lot of, making mistakes. And fortunately I did have a lot of good mentors along the way.
Yes.
The best ones didn't come until a little bit later.
Yep.
But the first few years were a real struggle because I was a personal trainer. I was an exercise physiologist.
Yes. Yep.
I didn't know one bit about how to actually run a business.
Yep.
And how to lead people.
Well, and you were leading an industry shift that, not only are people just getting used to like hiring someone to help them, but now to pay money to be a part of a club and a fit, so that's even that alone was kind of changing mentality in people.
Absolutely.
So you were probably riding a little bit of that wave. At the same token, you're educating the consumer. This is something you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kind of what were you started with a 4,000 square foot there on 72nd and University, as you begin to grow, and growth certainly means more people, more members are signing up for how did you know, okay, it's time to either expand this location, or what were some of those milestones of expansion and shifts and locations that begin to take place over the next several years?
Well, the first expansion was really pretty rapid because I had already, I brought all of my clients over.
Yep.
Whenever I started the club, and 4,000 square feet is not very big.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, the expansion started within probably 6 months.
Yep.
And while I was in that strip center, I expanded 4 different times to where I was ultimately about 12,000 square feet. I think my mic just dropped.
Yep. So you thankfully the strip center had some space for you to expand into.
Yep. And then, just when things were going great, things were profitable. I was getting a little bit of a handle on how to handle everything, how to handle staff and how to handle, the members and the customers. Well, then a World Gym opened up.
Yeah.
Over on 98th and Slide.
Yep.
And what they did was essentially tried their absolute best to put me out of business.
Oh, wow.
They hired my entire staff.
Oh, my gosh.
Except for 2 people. Only two of my staff stayed. And what they would do with our members is that if one of our members came over to their club, they did not have to pay any money down or any dues until their membership with us had expired.
Oh, wow.
And so, obviously a good chunk of people left because that was the new shiny thing.
Of course. Yeah.
And so it got down to, double digits in the bank account.
Wow.
And I had a business partner at that time that the business partner allowed me to get the funding to get started. But when things got rough, the business partner had no intention of putting any more money in or hanging around or anything like that.
Yep.
And so I convinced him, since his name was on my bank note with the equipment as the guarantor, I told him, I said, okay, let me buy back your half.
Yep.
At a fair price.
Yep.
I'll get you off this note somehow, and just let me go down the road, and I'm going to make it, or I'm not going to make it without you. And I don't think he was being kind when he did it. I think he just thought, well, this is just a good chance for me to get out of here without being on the hook for this loan. So, but I did that, and I just redoubled my efforts, got to work even harder.
Yep.
And from that point on, once again, it just took off. And before too long, we moved over to, because we expanded all the way in that strip center to where we couldn't go any further. We opened up the next club on Brownfield Highway, which is Marshall Sharp now. 24,000 square foot club, 2 stories, brand new. It was pretty great club, and it exploded after that. And, by the time I sold most of my clubs in 2019, except for the falls. And when I sold, we had about 24,000 members and about 300 staff people.
Wow.
And that's when I thought it was just time to let it go.
So let me ask you that question, because I was thinking about this conversation. You walked through what a lot of people would love to walk through, and that is, highs and lows, grew something, multiple locations. And then did you actively seek out, or kind of, I'm curious, over the last few years before you sold in 2019, had you been getting approached by other clubs?
No.
Or was this kind of something in your, what in your brain shifted to, I think I'd like to explore this? Was it your own thoughts and then you sought it out, or did it come to you, or kind of how did the relationship come about to even explore selling?
Well, I had no intention of selling.
Yeah.
And I may get a little emotional at this point, which is okay with me. So don't be uncomfortable. But at 2019, I was approached by, TrueFit here in town, to purchase the clubs. And, at that point, I guess I would have been 50. And of course, part of me was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sell it. Let's go down to the mat.
Yeah.
Cause I'll take on all comers just like I always had.
Yeah.
And I still believe to this day, had I chosen to go that route, I would have been successful. But at about the same time, my dad got diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my wife was pregnant.
Yeah.
And so I started, really considering what that next year and a half would look like if I had to put everything I had back into this business, working 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then lose those last few months with my dad and maybe not be there as much as I should be for my wife while she was pregnant and then having our son. And so honestly, even though it was the hardest decision I've ever made, I just felt that God had kind of just orchestrated that all together, because I'd been in business 26 or 27 years, never had an offer.
Yeah.
And then during this key crucial moment, I got one.
Yeah.
And so I decided, well, because of my dad and my wife and the fact that, you got to get out sometime.
Yeah.
Whether it's 50, 55, 60, you got to get out sometime. And you want to get out while you still got something to get out on. Yeah. Get out when you're still doing well. And so I just decided then, again, after much prayer, a lot of prayer.
Yeah.
and a lot of support from a lot of people that, my wife and I, Holly, decided it was just time to let the clubs go. And it was one thing I didn't think about is because I wasn't, up until that point, I wasn't thinking about getting out. So I didn't have an after plan.
Yeah.
And so the after was, you feel very lost.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I would always talk to people about that are talking to me about selling their business or something like that is you better start thinking about what you're going to do after a long time before you start trying to sell it.
Yep.
Because it's a seismic change. And so much in particular men, I believe, so much of our identity is tied up in our work and in what we do and in how we provide, whether it's for our family or for other people, that when that's suddenly gone, even if it's for a good thing, it's still gone. And there is a massive, massive hole. And it's a seismic shift in how you look at life after that.
I'm going to point to a couple of things you've kind of said in roundabout ways. And I think this is one of the entrepreneurial journey is just not easy. I mean, you've just said it. You've faced some very ugly endings and you got to push through and sweat and it's not, but it does create what I call optionality and freedom to choose at seasons in your life. And you as facing a season of, and there are some really important people and seasons that's shifting. And I want to be able to freely choose to lean into that. And I can't do that if I'm running after this thing here. But being an entrepreneur, at some points again, it may happen in a moment. It may happen over time. The freedom to choose is really powerful.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I find so interesting is 2019, fitness clubs. You had done a phenomenal job of capturing people's attention, servicing them, your fitness clubs. I was a member of them. 6, 8, 9, 12 months later, a very different change in the world happened. And fitness clubs were impacted significantly.
Oh, absolutely.
And isn't it just, and I know it's gone through your mind, isn't it interesting, just again, the prompting, the leaning into asking God to lead us, the timing, and you didn't know, you don't have a crystal ball. Of, well, maybe I'll wait 6 months, I'll wait 12 months and sell it. That I'm just going to guess that transaction might have happened and it very likely could not have happened after 2020, 2021, at least in the middle of all of that chaos.
No, it absolutely would not have happened. I mean, we closed, December 31st, 2019. So 3 months before the whole thing hit.
Yeah.
Now, a funny thing, it's really not funny. But during this process, I always owned my own real estate. So I owned the buildings that my clubs were in.
Yep.
And so as I was looking at getting out and this, a transaction of that size and of that many locations, I mean, it just takes a while. It took several months.
Yes.
But during that time, I was talked into diversifying my interests and there, don't keep these buildings where the health clubs are going to be. You need to sell these buildings, to somebody else and 1031 it into some other things. And so in 2019, I bought Alamo Draft House. So you talk about the two businesses you don't want to be in when a pandemic hits. Well, that was the other one.
Well, and again, no one has a crystal ball and it's just like, all right, navigate this as best as we can. I am curious, the falls, that wasn't part of the transaction. Was that partially on your side, their side, or was that kind of an agreeable negotiation, or what about falls kind of carved itself out?
That's a very interesting story.
Because the falls is part of where the story now is going today. And that's the reason I'm asking that.
I bought the falls in, I believe, 2016. And it ultimately was supposed to be part of this transaction. And while they were doing their due diligence in terms of all the clubs and all that stuff, they discovered, unknown to them, unknown to me, unknown to my banker or anybody else, that the falls was improperly zoned.
Interesting.
It was zoned as a community center just for that neighborhood. And, the falls has even now it might have 50 houses.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
So
nice homes, but only 50.
Yeah.
Of them.
You have a 65,000 square foot club and for 50 houses. So,
yeah.
And anyway, and of course the original developer of the falls was Benny Judah.
Yes. Yeah.
And, a lot of people know that story. So not surprising that it wasn't
correctly zoned. Yes.
So anyway, during that process, they found that out. But we were still under contract to also sell the falls to them. I had a year. Actually, I had a year. Had a year to get it
zoned correctly.
Yep. And then they would buy it, and it wasn't an option. I mean, once it was zoned correctly, I was obligated to sell it to them. And again, I feel like it's just, God's providence and God's timing.
Yep.
Things just kept happening and just drawing it out, and couldn't get things done, and problems at the city and turnover at the city. And it just kept going on and on. Meanwhile, during that year, they had a management agreement to run the club. So I was completely out. I mean, I owned it, but they ran it into the ground, my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I think, whether it was intentional or not, obviously the value of the club was going down because it wasn't being run well.
Yeah.
And I saw and talked to so many other people about how the other clubs were going at that point. And I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to sell it to them.
Yeah. That
was an enlightening conversation when I had that. They weren't very happy about that. But the deal had expired.
Yeah.
And
they hadn't performed.
They didn't perform.
Yep.
And it did take that long to get the zoning fixed, and we did get the zoning fixed ultimately. And so, it ended up being fine for everybody. I mean, they went on their way to run the kind of club that they have, which there's nothing wrong with that kind of club. It's just not the kind of club that I had run before or that I run now. And so the falls probably was never going to be a good mix with them anyway. Probably would have been more headache than it's worth. And, but ultimately, like I said, it just, the providence of God, and it, I just kept it.
Yep. So I'm going to circle back to the falls, because that's kind of where some of the story's leading today. But I want to ask this question: in your journey of entrepreneurship, being the business owner, being the chief bus driver, we'll use that phrase. Talk to me about leadership. Like, how would you describe the leadership that you really tried to, embody? What's the kind of leadership that you really emphasized in your organization? Maybe leadership that you kind of saw from other people that was desirable. I think leadership drives so many things, and I always like to talk about this for just a moment.
Well, I mean, for me, I will say the first probably few years, I was not a good leader.
Yeah.
I was very wrapped up in me. I was very wrapped up in titles, like we talked about before. I was wrapped up in I had a TV show then. I had a radio show with Saturday mornings. And I mean, if my ego would have gotten any bigger, I wouldn't have fit through the door. And so, I definitely had to go through some growing pains with that. And these business challenges, one of which I talked about early on when the World Gym came into town, they break you down.
Yeah.
And you do suddenly realize that this show isn't about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's ultimately about, serving God by serving people.
That's right.
And so, ultimately, I looked at Christ and how he, kind of ran the disciples, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so the servant leadership model is what I began to really dig into and latch onto. And for that, it's, it's kind of an inverted pyramid.
Yeah.
Instead of me being at the peak of the pyramid, I'm the top dog, I'm CEO. Actually, that's not what it is at all. Yeah. I am the bottom dude. Yeah. I'm last on the totem pole. And it's my job to serve all these other people.
That's right.
In whatever capacity that I was able to. It was about the members first. We got to serve those members. The members write your paycheck. Yep. I always told the staff, I don't write your paycheck.
Yeah, that's right.
Those members write your paycheck.
And if you don't take care of them, guess what? There ain't no paycheck.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
And so And so and then it went, from the members to the frontline staff. They were the next most important. That's the front desk people, the kids club people, the maintenance staff, the janitors. I mean, those are the next most important people. And then it would flow down to the personal trainers and the salespeople, and then the managers. And ultimately, like I said, I'm the dude at the bottom just driving the bus.
Yeah. Well, that's so beautiful. And I think, again, it's unfortunately in a society that's all about us and me and promote myself and me before you, that upside down leadership, which obviously was modeled by Jesus, is attractive to the world. People want to be a part of that. People want to grow underneath that. They'll run through walls under that kind of leadership. It's really powerful, and it's evident in the fruit of what you grew. So I just say kudos to you for doing that. As we kind of wrap up the conversation, I'm excited or curious to hear more about what the next chapter, the next expansion for the Falls looks like, because you've got a beautiful club there, right in the heart of all of our growth in Southwest corridor. So what's the vision for next there?
Well, the next thing that's coming up, and we've already started, is we are doing about a 35,000 square foot expansion, and we are going to have an additional 4 indoor tennis courts.
Yep.
And we have outdoor courts now, and nobody likes to play outdoors in Lubbock, Texas. I mean, it's either windy or hot or too cold, So we are
kind of repurposing that.
Yeah, we are enclosing that space and redoing those tennis courts, and then we're adding on an additional 10,000 square feet of fitness and recovery and physical therapy. And it's what we are calling the Human Performance Lab.
Oh, wow.
And it's the next level.
Yeah.
We've got a group of physical therapists coming on board. Pinnacle Performance with Dr. Alberto Flores is going to be joining us along with his staff. And he's got 2 other physical therapists and some other coaches with him, a nurse practitioner, a nurse esthetician. So we're going to be doing, peptides and GLP-1s and hormone replacement therapy, as well as the aesthetic stuff with Botox or wrinkles or whatever. And then and it's going to be kind of a longevity lab. I mean, it's for people. I'm about to turn 59 in just a few weeks, and I want this body to still work.
Yes.
When I'm like your mom, when I'm 75 or 80, and so we're bringing in the recovery services with cold plunges and hot plunges and infrared saunas and red light therapy and some other cool things too. So it's going to be kind of the something that Lubbock doesn't have.
Yes.
There's right now there's kind of either or. You can get maybe a performance training place like Pinnacle Performance is now. Or you can get the recovery stuff somewhere else. But not under one roof.
That's right.
And so we are bringing all of that expertise and all of those professionals under one roof. And it's going to be for, athletes who want to be their absolute best. I mean, Alberto trains a ton of tech athletes and high school athletes and, D1 people. But at the same time, it's going to be for guys like me. You're not quite as old as I am, but, that just want this last third to be just as good. I remember seeing, going to see Kenneth Cooper, Dr. Kenneth Cooper, the inventor, the originator of aerobics, way back in the 80s. And something that he said really stuck with me. He says, right now in America, the death curve is very slow. And you just get sicker and sicker. Your last 10 years are just a process of you getting worse and worse off. But when your body is in the kind of shape that it can be in, and you're taking care of it through exercise, nutrition, everything else, it's more of a straight line, and then you just drop dead. And that's the goal.
Isn't it fascinating, the just explosion of information, and some of it not all relevant, but a lot of it. I was literally listening to Dr. Pete Tia, right? A couple of days ago on, I'm almost 50, right? So I'm pushing into this next level of stuff, right? And it's like, just don't fall down, right? And there's more to it than that as you get older, but you've got to do the things so you don't fall down. So you've got some kind of core, so you've got some kind of balance, and nutrition plays a part of it too, but your body. So the fact that you're now going to provide a solution an environment and a space for that, Michael, just excites me because we're in a growing part of the state. People want that. They don't have an outlet for that. This is exciting. What's kind of the time frames? I mean, you can't build something in a day. So is this over the next, 6-12 months?
No, we're hoping. I mean, we've got the tennis courts are poured. The footings around the tennis courts are done. We're about to pour the foundation for the additional 10,000 square feet this week or next. The steel for the building is sitting on top of the slab now.
Yeah.
So the erection of the actual structure will happen in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so, cross our fingers, it'll be open July. That's kind of the goal. And just as an interesting thing, for people that are wondering, well, am I in good enough shape?
That's a great question.
There's a very, very, very simple test you can do to find out if you're at risk for early death or not. Can you get up off of the floor from a seated position without using your hands?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's fascinating. Yep.
And most people can't.
I know. Yep. The core strength.
Yeah.
Needed
Legs
to do
and
that.
core
Yep.
and balance. And those all tie in. And of course, it's just an indication of where your ability is at.
Yes. Yep.
But all of that can be changed.
That's right.
All of it. Even nonagenarians. I mean, people in their 80s and 90s, they improve strength levels 300-400% once they start an exercise program.
I kind of referenced it a little bit, but my mom really did not begin investing into her physical fitness until probably her 60s. And she will be as big a cheerleader for anyone in her peer group or age group or younger that you'll love it.
Yeah.
More energy. I mean, just on and on and on and on.
Exactly.
So I love it. Man, I'm going to have you back. And I think we're going to have a whole conversation around just, where can we help people today? Some of the practicals, and then obviously an outlet for it, either in the falls or other things. So a couple of rapid fire questions. What's one of the boldest decisions you made in your business career? Any kind of ones jump out at you?
Probably the boldest one was, number one, taking on my second partner.
Yep.
My first financial partner, he, gave me some money.
Yep.
We were 50-50 partners, but whenever the business would have a profit, he would take his 50%.
He wouldn't want to invest it back in the business.
No, he wouldn't invest it back, and I'd leave mine in there. And anyway, and so when it came crunch time, he wouldn't put anything back in. So the next biggest thing was when I brought on my second business partner, which I swore I would never do.
Yeah, of course.
But his wife and himself and his daughter were one of my clients, and a guy you probably know, a guy named Randy Andrews.
Yeah.
Wanted to get involved with BodyWorks way back in the day. And I can say without question, were it not for Randy and his mentorship and his knowledge and just his care for me and my family, I would not be anywhere close to where I am today.
That's neat.
So I want to give thanks to Randy every time I get a chance to. And then probably the last big one, other than when I sold, was when we bought 4th Street. We bought an old Albertsons.
Yes. That
people thought, that's never going to happen. That's out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody lives over there.
That was West 19th, right?
Yeah, it was, and it was, 2008, 2009 during the financial crisis.
Yes.
And everybody thought that was a terrible move. And, but we were able to buy the building a lot cheaper.
Yep.
And then, when we put in a trampoline park and ropes course and everything else,
laser tag
around with the fitness, people said, you're nuts.
Yep.
And it ended up being a great decision.
Yeah. No, that was, my little girls got to enjoy a lot of things at that place. Your little ropes course that you kind of had, all of that, those fun stuff. Next kind of question. What's kind of a big misunderstanding about the fitness club industry that you think a lot of people are like, oh, that's just.
Number one, that it's easy.
Yeah.
that it's just putting some equipment in a building and people are going to show up.
Yep.
I mean, that's probably the number one thing. And the second thing, and this goes along just in general with owning your own business and being an entrepreneur. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't, they see you when you've had the success.
Yeah.
And they want what you have now, but they don't want to go through what you went through to get there. And when I tell people that, that I did not have a day off for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked Thanksgiving and Christmas Day.
Yes.
I did not have a vacation the first 10 years
I
was in business.
You want to sign up for that?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to pay your dues.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of another way around that, short of just hitting the lottery.
I've used this phrase a lot, and I kind of hate it, but it's just true. Sometimes you're just surviving.
Yeah.
But in the ability to sacrifice and survive, which are some of the seasons of the journey, you can reap some future reward. It's not guaranteed even then, but you got to sacrifice and survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's very few people, most will never want to sign up for that.
I mean, I went, I think 15 months when I first opened without ever getting a paycheck.
Yep.
When World Gym, opened up and stole my staff and most of my members, I was down to the point I was putting payroll on my personal credit cards.
Yeah.
Because that's how close we were.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I would have made it another month, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's powerful, and it's not for everyone.
No, it's not.
In fact, it's for very few. So, Michael, man, this has been so good. Seriously, well, I'm going to have you back, and we're going to kind of dive into kind of body fitness stuff, because it's again, people want to hear that, especially in Lubbock. There's some talking heads around the country,
sure,
but here locally, I think it's really great to hear that. So, last question, I always ask our guests. You're sitting across from your 20-something-year-old self. What's some wisdom and advice you'd give yourself?
Recognize earlier that it's not about you.
Yeah,
it's about other people.
That's really good.
It's about the people you serve.
Yep.
And when people, if I'm ever asked, hey, what's your secret of success? And you get that quite a bit. I say, other than God choosing to bless me, it's finding people that are better at all this other stuff than I am.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to hire the superstar that's way better than you.
Yes, that's good. That's good. That's right. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us on the Rise Up podcast. It's always good. And if you'd like some more information, you can, check out the Falls Athletic Club.
Yep.
And certainly for us, you can go to our site at Get Rise Energy for more information, our socials online. Thanks again. Until the next time, make it a great day.